Chapter 1. The Herald's Call. In the waning light of a world grown weary with age, the ancient prophecies whispered through the corridors of time, foretelling a moment when the heavens would split and the earth would tremble. It was an era of both splendor and despair, where empires rose on the backs of the oppressed and the cries of the forsaken were lost in the cacophony of the mighty. Amidst the turmoil, a solitary figure emerged from the shadows of obscurity, a herald of the end times, cloaked in the raiment of humility. His name was Eliakim, a man whose eyes held the depth of the oceans and whose voice carried the weight of the unseen world. He walked the earth with a purpose that was etched into the very fabric of his being, a purpose that had been whispered into his soul by the divine. Eliakim journeyed to the ancient city of Jerusalem, where the stones spoke of a history steeped in blood and redemption. He arrived unnoticed, a stranger among the throngs of pilgrims and merchants who jostled through the narrow streets. Yet, there was an air about him that caused some to pause, a silent authority that demanded attention without a word being spoken. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky with hues of fire and gold, Eliakim ascended the steps of the Temple Mount. The sacred site, a crossroads of faith and conflict, stood as a testament to the enduring search for the divine. He reached the summit just as the last light of day surrendered to the encroaching night. There, Eliakim stood, his gaze fixed on the western wall, the remnant of the Holy of Holies. He raised his hands to the heavens, and in a voice that resonated with the power of the ages, he spoke. Children of earth, the hour has come. The seals have been broken, the scrolls unfurled. The time of reckoning is upon us, as it was written, as it was foretold. Hearken to the call of the 7 trumpets, for they shall sound the will of the Most High. Let those with ears listen, and those with eyes witness the unfolding of the final chapter. As if in response to his proclamation, a sudden chill swept through the air, and the skies above roiled with dark, ominous clouds. A silence, profound and unsettling, descended upon the city, and all who dwelt within its walls felt a tremor of fear, an instinctual recognition that the world was on the cusp of a great and terrible transformation. Eliakim lowered his arms, and his eyes, once alight with celestial fire, softened with compassion. He knew the path ahead would be fraught with tribulation, that the blowing of the 7 trumpets would herald trials of unimaginable scope. But within his heart there also burned an unquenchable hope, a belief that from the ashes of the old world a new and glorious dawn would rise. And so, with the setting of the sun and the gathering of the storm, the herald's call echoed through the ages, a clarion signal that the final act of the human saga was about to commence. Chapter 2. The Descent into Chaos. As the last echoes of Eliakim's proclamation faded into the twilight, the denizens of Jerusalem felt a shiver of foreboding ripple through the ancient stones of their city. The air grew heavy with anticipation, and the heavens themselves seemed to hold their breath. The world stood on the precipice of change, and the hearts of all mankind beat in anxious unison. Without warning, the silence shattered as the first trumpet sounded, its blast cutting through the stillness like a sword through cloth. The sound was both beautiful and terrifying, a symphony of divine wrath that resonated in the bones of the earth. From the celestial realm, an angelic figure descended, his countenance stern and resolute, the trumpet at his lips a herald of the beginning of the end. The sound of the trumpet carried with it a storm, not of rain and wind, but of blood-red hail mixed with fire. The sky turned a deep crimson as the elements rained down upon the land, scorching fields and forests, turning verdant landscapes into charred wastelands. The world watched in horror as the first of the judgments was meted out, a testament to the power that governed the fate of all creation. As the second trumpet sounded, a great mountain burning with fire was cast into the sea. The waters churned and boiled, and a third of the sea turned to blood. Great leviathans of the deep perished, their lifeless forms washing ashore as a grim reminder of the fragility of life. Ships and sailors alike were swallowed by the wrathful sea, and the cries of the drowning were lost amidst the roar of the waves. The third trumpet followed, and a great star, blazing like a torch, fell from the heavens, poisoning a third of the rivers and springs of water. The name of the star was Wormwood, and many died from the bitter waters that had once quenched the thirst of the living. Despair spread like a plague, for the very essence of life had been tainted by the celestial judgment. With the sounding of the fourth trumpet, the heavens themselves were struck. A third of the sun was smitten, a third of the moon, and a third of the stars, so that a third of them were darkened. Daylight dimmed and the night turned deeper, a shadow cast over the hopes and dreams of humanity. The natural order had been disrupted, and in the gloom, fear took root in the hearts of men and women. Eliakim, the herald of these tribulations, watched with sorrow-laden eyes as the world descended into chaos. He moved among the people, his presence a balm to the suffering, his words a flicker of light in the encroaching darkness. He spoke of repentance, of redemption, and of the enduring love that had not forsaken them even in their darkest hour. Yet, even as he offered solace, the air was pierced by the piercing cry of an eagle flying high above, a prophetic voice that spoke a chilling truth. Woe, woe, woe to the inhabitants of the earth, because of the remaining blasts of the trumpet of the three angels who are about to sound. The descent into chaos was but the beginning, and the trials that awaited humanity would test the very fabric of their existence. The seven trumpets had yet to complete their fateful symphony, and the world braced itself for the unknown terrors that lay ahead. In the aftermath of tribulation, the earth lay silent, its cries hushed by the profound stillness that followed the sounding of the seventh trumpet. The skies, once marred by the fury of divine judgment, now cleared, revealing a canvas of serene blue, a whisper of peace amidst the echoes of chaos. Eliakim, the steadfast herald, stood upon the mount, his eyes reflecting the calm that had settled over the world. The final trumpet had unleashed not further wrath, but a hallowed silence, a sacred space in which the voice of the divine could be heard with clarity and grace. It was a sound not of destruction, but of creation, a call to rebuild, to renew, to restore. From the four corners of the earth, humanity emerged, their hearts no longer bound by fear, but lifted by a newfound unity. They gathered in the shadow of the mount, a mosaic of souls drawn together by the promise of a new beginning. The trials they had endured had not broken them, but had forged them in the fires of perseverance, tempered their spirits with the strength of hope. Eliakim spoke, his voice a gentle tide washing over the assembled multitude. Behold, the age of sorrow has passed, and the dawn of a new era rises. Let us lay down the burdens of the past and embrace the gift of tomorrow. Together, we shall build a world not on the foundations of power and pride, but on the bedrock of compassion and truth. And so, as the final echo of the seven trumpets faded into memory, the people of the earth joined hands, their voices rising in a chorus of renewal. They stepped forward into the light of a new day, their path illuminated by the enduring flame of hope, their destiny no longer written in the stars, but crafted by their own hands, in the spirit of love and fellowship that now bound them as one.